and then calls her over. Oof. Oh, that was good. That was really, really good. Hey everybody.
Hello.
MaJeliv here. We're the Vasquez family. I'm Matthew.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Joshua.
And we just got out of watching DC's Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
No, it's been a minute, so we're glad to see you guys.
Hello.
Great way to kick things off again. But man, what a movie.
Yeah.
We were excited to see this, one, because we're huge fans of Cholo Maridueña's work in Cobra Kai. We've gotten to know his work through there. And when we heard that he was going to be leading this movie, leading Blue Beetle, and now leading the DCU and kind of this story, kicking things off for James Gunn's DCU, we were definitely very intrigued and excited and pumped to see what this story could bring, not only to DC, but also to the theaters, to cinema, because the character of Jaime Reyes just has so many different dynamics and things that from the first teaser we related to.
Yeah.
The aspect of family and being so close and that being your ultimate strength, but then people can view it as your weakness. And there's just so many things that from the get-go we were ready to jump on into. Yeah. And man, did this movie disappoint?
No.
No, it did. It was phenomenal.
It was fantastic.
I mean, it's hard to think about anything that was really wrong. I mean, it all just, it felt right, and it was just so fun. I think fun is like the perfect word for it, because it
was a blast, yeah.
It felt like you were truly on for the ride. You're not like watching the ride, you're on it. Yeah. And I think that's really special.
It felt
to
very
make you
authentic,
feel like you're there
too.
and like in it.
I love the authenticity of it, and like the genuine reaction of certain things as well. Like
extremely
it
genuine.
all made sense. It didn't feel over the top or too cheesy. Like it still felt very grounded, and it was just beautifully done. The emotions, they really took their time, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So overall, just a wonderful movie.
Yeah. It's there was a lot of intentionality, I feel, from the directors and writers and the people behind it. Again, like you said, like they really took from their own personal experience, from their childhood, from their upbringing. And it's something that we've truly connected to, the family experience. You know, sometimes we feel like outsiders in a way, kind of like the odd ones out in terms of how close we are as a family, all being kind of cooped up in a small home.
All in each other's space.
All in each other's space, all of that. We just love that. The beautiful chaos, as we like to call it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's something that we related to. I mean, we felt like we were seeing ourselves represented and displayed on there. Regardless, I think any Latino family can relate to that. Whether you're Colombian like us or Mexican like Jaime's family, wherever you're from, like it's something that's relatable. There's a lot of families that whether you're Latino or not, you can relate to that. So it was very beautiful to see that. And just the concept of the scarab, I thought was very unique.
That was very
fascinating. I'm still curious to see like what powers Jaime could conjure up in the future. We don't know much about Blue Beetle's background. I thought it was a great way to introduce to anyone that doesn't know, like to general audiences. I think it was pretty easy and fun follow and understand.
I mean, we saw the scarab in the intro animation, like flying through a planet.
Oh.
It really makes you think. If that, what could he do? What truly can his powers do? Yeah, like you said, Matt, it's really exciting.
It was so unique. It was so fresh. Even though it was a superhero movie, it had its own identity. This movie's been getting great reviews.
Yeah.
Some pretty great, like good reviews compared to some other superhero movies, compared to like The Flash or anything prior. But it also like
I mean, there isn't like perfect moments. Like if that makes any sense. Like there's certain moments that are like a perfect shot, a perfect superhero moment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of not perfect moments at all. Like it's all wrong in the best ways.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. So I think there's that is really refreshing. And if you're tired of superhero movies,
watch this.
It's an understandable exhaustion. We know.
Yeah.
A lot of us do, but this is a really fun one. I think it's worth trying, and it's worth enjoying, because it really is.
And the message
awesome.
They're sharing too, of it goes beyond like just the whole superhero traditional story of them getting their powers, and there's this whole conflict,
keeping it a secret.
They're keeping it a secret. It's just it kind of blows all of those like those formulas out of the water, and it really makes it their own. And it's just such a special and important message I think we all need to hear right now in times of a lot of division, whether it's between families, friends. Like, it kind of just checks yourself and makes you, there's some really beautiful themes in there that, despite it being a superhero movie, sometimes don't even feel like it's a superhero movie because of how close-knit and family-based it is.
Yeah.
And family-based meaning like the messages of the story, not like it's for families and kids, because it's definitely not for, it may not be for every kid, but you know, it's a more mature-ish audience, but family themes for sure. So
it definitely reminded me of Miss Marvel in terms of what's new and like what's familiar. The most recent thing that we've seen that's kind of similar to this would, I think, be like a Miss Marvel in the family aspect. But, you know, you kind of take a very similar Spider-Man story where he finds this bug that transforms his life, this insect, but then you add those variables of family and different things that make it a different experience that we get to witness. But back to the whole thing about family, I think a very interesting character that I loved was Jennifer's character.
The Brazilian actress,
Brazilian actress,
she did fantastic.
Fantastic. Just so great. It was something so new, and her relationship with family and the absence of family in her upbringing, and then that dynamic and that like world clashing with Jaime's very like, that's all he knows, family. It brought a really cool mix to the whole thing and to the whole adventure, the whole story.
Sorry, there's a B.
But anyway, yes. So I love the character of Jennifer, all the different people. We'll let our parents in a second and talk about, you know, specifics. We go into spoilers with them and about the different characters in the family, how they affected our parents. But the last thing I want to point out is some people have mentioned, oh, this reminds them of Iron Man. You know, when Iron Man came out in 2008 or whatever it was. And I think what maybe is making people feel that way is the fact that this movie didn't really have, I don't know, like if I remember Iron Man, what my dad's told me, because mind you, I was in kindergarten when that came out, but it was like the sense of like, who's Iron Man? Nobody really knew why they would want to start with this movie, or you know, this movie. You know, a movie like Iron Man had the opportunity to kind of just be. You know, they had the kind of the leeway to experiment, and I feel like with Blue Beetle, they also were given that opportunity to take risks and to try new things, and this movie could just be. It didn't have to be something. Any other pressure that it might have received externally is just because of the state of whatever the studios or whatever comic book fans want to put on it. But again, there was true intentionality and heart in the script, in the writing. So we'll kind of use that to transition.
Pass it on to the parents.
But those are our initial thoughts, and we'll meet you guys right before we close this off. So we're gonna switch it over now.
Yes.
Man, it is good to be back.
It is great to be back.
Yes.
Yes. We're very thankful to be back. We've missed this, and we're so thrilled it was this movie. Blue Beetle has been a movie we've been waiting for.
Very
Feels
much.
like forever.
It has been, though. It has been quite a while. I mean, it's not just a feeling. We could sit down and look at a calendar and say, this was a long-awaited experience. And now that we're here, we've arrived, we've been through it. It did not disappoint, as a kid said. We will go into spoilers on this, so if you made it this far in the video and you don't want to hear, stop, leave, and come back, because we're going to talk about some things that really have affected us, and you know, this is so much more than just a movie about an adaptation of the comics of Blue Beetle. There's such a intimate portrait of a Mexican family, of a family unit. That, I mean, I was in tears very, very early in the movie.
Throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I think your heart, I was going to say the word to describe this movie was heart.
Yes.
I mean, the whole time, from beginning to end, it felt like there was just these really strong emotional moments.
And very sincere. You know, they didn't overplay anything. You could feel the heart and the spirit of the script writers in it. The actors in it were absolutely loyal to the story and to each character. Each character was given the life that it deserved, and I think that's why it works. That's why it pops, because it's honest to the culture. It's honest to the dynamic with which is going on. I think the themes overall of this family unit were told through the conduit of a writer that understands the Latino culture and the family unit that is truly strengthened with its proximity. I think the kids mentioned, you know, we do this together. We are always together. The thing that stood out the most to me was Cholo Maridueña's character, the way he brought Jaime Reyes to the screen. I think the details of who he is and how he's impacted by his family, the responsibility he feels to come back from college and justify getting in debt.
Yeah.
And the pressures of like, all right, what do I do with this now?
And the big deal about, you know, finishing college and getting an education, and how much immigrant families desire that for their kids, and their reasons for coming to this country, and everything that they do for their families to, you know, kind of make a living. The uncertainty of the legalities of being in this country and making ends meet and doing jobs that are looked down upon, that are made, to people ignore you and don't see your worth sometimes. And the uncle, who was so smart, was almost like running away from the law all the time, where he was always afraid. But he had so much potential and so much value, and he ended up being this strong character that really helped the story along. So not the story along, but the characters of the superhero, Blue Beetle, and
I really love the brother and sister dynamic. How do I this movie happened at just the best time. Our family just moved in to our town, and they were very far away. I have not lived with my sister and my mom in the same town for 16 years. So like Josh doesn't know that life, and they've been here for about a week. And so and we actually saw this movie with my mom. So that dynamic of the brother sister with Jaime and Milagros, Millie, I just loved how they're back and forth, how family is his strength. There comes many moments in the film where they keep the enemies keep accusing him that family's his weakness, family's gonna lead to his destruction is kind of the implication, but it's quite the opposite. Anytime somebody messes with his family, there's an empowerment, there's a groundedness that from deep within, a great power rises to do something to protect that family, to protect his sister and his mom and his uncle especially. We do have a great, like every superhero, there is great loss, but the way this one's handled, that was something different. It took it into a bit of a spiritual realm, a realm of that supersedes the story of just a human being upgraded. Now it's also the soul of this person being upgraded, right? And it's through the conduit of Dad, which I loved. I loved the role of the father.
Yeah, the connection. I feel like from the beginning of Jaime getting his powers and finding the scarab and becoming the Blue Beetle, him having his family there was such a special part of what this movie was about. I feel like so many times it's so irritating. Like so many times superheroes are like, oh, they keep their identity from the ones they love to protect them. But in this movie, it was almost like he needed his family to give him the support to accept this new challenge, and they had to get through it together. So I don't know, the father relationship, like that whole dynamic of like him feeling responsible, having to take care of his sister, his mom, and the uncle, that was a beautiful part too. I know growing up, my uncle had a big role to play in my upbringing as well, in my life, and I thought it was beautiful. All the characters, I feel, even the grandmother, she had this surprising, power to her. This history that they didn't know about,
and a wonderful comic relief at that, right? She ended up being, obviously the matriarch, and that's kind of an understanding. It's an understanding that the women in our family rule. That's just the way it is. You're queen of the household. Oh. You are, but when like grandma comes over,
she becomes
there's always an understanding that we need to respect that. It's a beautiful understanding. And so, but you said a word that I think really sums up this movie, and it's together. Family goes through it together. And there's multiple times where, especially the grandma makes a comment about, and I think the uncle too, Rudy, George Lopez's character, we face all these things together. We're resilient. We've faced harder things. These themes about what immigrant families go through, what Latino families go through in general, in overcoming the odds, in facing things that, we're supposed to not win. It's supposed to be a no-win situation, but because we do it together, we excel. We could do anything. We absolutely excel, and we excel together. So all of that is just
And I also think alongside what you're saying, I think the other side of it, Jaime had family supporting him and helping him, whereas Jenny's character, I loved her character. She was like the orphan,
Right.
who had to know how to move on with very different circumstances, like by herself, sticking to her values and what her family, her father instilled in her. I think that was beautiful as well. I think, you get both sides. You get, okay, I can do a lot of things with friends who are like family, who have that support system and who can love her as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the family who's strengthened because they're a family that's united.
And how about that powerful image when the family is embracing each other? When Grandma finally says, "Okay, this is the time we
now
can cry."
Now we can cry, yeah.
And Jenny's off to the side crying by herself.
Yeah.
And then Grandma calls her over. Oof. Oh, that was good. That was really, really good.
That's the one that broke me. My eyes welled up a lot, but that scene got me leaking.
Yeah, which
for
is
sure.
a lot to say. This woman does not cry.
I don't cry very easily, no.
It's not something that happens, so.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for the creators. I'm thankful for
That's
the
where I was
story.
going. Yep.
So not only is it my favorite DC movie now, but it is up there with my favorite movies, like altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to the writers, the actors, my heart is with you. I think the only thing that was wrong with this movie, I wish I could say this movie was flawless as a whole, but it's not. And the thing that is wrong with it is the fact that the writers and the actors could not enjoy this movie in a regular premiere setting. They cannot sit in a theater together celebrating it with the regular process that usually goes into it to celebrate a movie like this. Hey, it was meant to be a different way this time. And the way it's played out is the way it's supposed to be. And we'll go with it. And yet we rejoice along with you, to the writers, the directors, the actors, those of you that came together to tell this story. We thank you.
Yes,
We thank you.
amazing.
We support you. We stand by you during this time of the strike that is unfortunate and absolutely necessary. We're just moved by it as fellow creators ourselves and artists. We're inspired by you, and it's making the impact it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And for that, we're grateful.
Yes.
So cheers to you.
Amazing.
And thank you again to all of you that have returned to our channel with us. We've missed you all. We've missed doing this, and we're just happy to be back.
Yes.
All right, so those were our thoughts. That was our initial reaction to Blue Beetle. I think the biggest takeaway is go see this just heartwarming movie,
please do.
epic movie. It's got so much for you to enjoy. And like my dad said, I think it's just the best thing to do, especially that this movie didn't get what it deserved in terms of a premiere, in terms of an opening. I know it's not getting as much press as it probably should. So just go out there, support it.
And to think it was going to come out on streaming, right?
Yeah, that is what baffles me. I'm so glad that that didn't happen.
I'm very grateful
and then it
that
came
didn't
out in
happen.
theaters. It definitely is worth the cinematic experience, because it is a cinematic experience for sure. So we're just extremely happy that we got to experience it today. So again, go watch it, and yeah, we definitely will. We can't wait to talk more about it, or to see where this character goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it all goes well, and there's more. There's clearly fertile ground for the story to continue. We'd love to
That'd
see
be
it,
great.
and we'll definitely be there for whenever Jaime Reyes returns to screens. So yes, thank you guys for joining us today. We hope you guys enjoyed our thoughts. Let us know down below in the comments if you guys agreed, if you disagreed, how you feel about Blue Beetle. What are some comics that are good to get into? I know the different versions, different runs of Blue Beetle, so we're very curious to see. Definitely going to do more research as to which ones inspired this movie, different, maybe specific scenes, different sequences. So just let us know. Meet us in the comments. We always love to hear what you guys have to say.
Maybe some DC movies or shows that you're excited about.
Yes.
It's a great time for DC, I think. It's really exciting to look to the future, to see what James Gunn has in store. It's been kind of messy transitioning, but now we're really feeling what this could be, and more of a shift. And this is also a really unique spot, a nice, it's its own thing, and it's so great. So it's
A lot of
awesome.
fertile ground. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of really great stuff. So
That's what it should be about too. So, I have hope that it stays that way, and it only just enhances more of what's to come. And yeah, hopefully a brighter future for the DCU.
I think it's less about the DCU right now and just
Yes.
us being invested in Jaime Reyes and his family.
Yes.
And that's what I think sometimes is missed and forgotten when it comes to superhero movies, is we need that anchor. And right now that's Jaime and the Reyes family. So, man, we're in for the ride.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again. I mean, a lot if you guys can leave a like down below and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new MaJeliv content. We're grateful to have all of you. Go out there, spread your light, and have a MaJeliv day. See you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.